All right, beauties. So this is going to be the last in the series of these videos, and we're going to bring the process full circle, which means we've now learned how to do the clearing. You've learned about the movie techniques, the daisy chaining, how to do EFT safely, and now we're going to go to the last part, which is anchoring a new reality into your body. So the important thing to remember here is this. The reason why most people's manifestation fails is because they don't do the first part. Most people try to do spirituality and manifestation with a classical spiritual bypassing stuff, with a feel good spirituality, which is basically repeating affirmations, doing future scripting, vision boards, etc., etc. Beautiful stuff. Amazing. Useless without doing the clearing work. So in both of the sections in CO frequency here and theta healing, we're bridging the two. So what we're doing is we're doing the clearing and then we're anchoring in a new reality. Same with theta healing, we're doing the clearing, we're anchoring in a new reality. So in this last video, we're going to see how we can use EFT to do this. Now, the important thing that I want you to remember here is that you are continuously working with your body. Your body is sending you signals and telling you immediately, is it on board with something or is it not on board with something? So you can take any affirmation you want. Let's say millions are flowing to me. I am a match for millions. I am wealthy. Clients are finding me out of nowhere. Ooh, that felt really good in my body. And your body's going to tell you. And for some of these affirmations, your body's going to go, ooh, yummy. This is great. And if you can hold this energy for at least 17 seconds, that's how long it takes to kick the law of attraction into in action, by the way. If you can hold it for at least 17 seconds with this positive feeling, it means you probably don't have any strong limiting beliefs around that. So it should be pretty easy for you to see results by simply consistently practicing tuning into the feeling and some of the manifestation techniques that we worked with. But if you repeat an affirmation and your body goes, blah, no, like I don't believe this, then it means you have limiting beliefs. And so when we're working with EFT and using EFT to bring in affirmations, it's incredibly important to do this gradually, not to bypass the truth in your body. Okay? We're always working with, I have cat hair in my mouth. Cat hair is everywhere in my house. It's very important that we are always working with the truth of here and now. What is true for your body? What is true for your nervous system? What are you feeling? We're not trying to bypass and jump into some alternate reality, because even if you manage to do this gradually, you will not able to sustain it. And we want repeated, gradual, sustained progress with extra quantum leaps on top of that, because it's fun, but that we know how to stabilize and bring into our reality. Okay? So what I want you to remember is this. The first thing is we're always working with the body and we're doing it gradually. We're bringing in a new possibility. And the second one is that you only use this when you've brought intensity to 3 or below, ideally 2 or below. Okay. So you're working with a specific issue, and we're going to take a specific example that is going to be similar to the one you found in the notes under the movie technique. We're going to use Instagram posting a reel, right? And when you've brought the intensity to 3 or lower, then you can start introducing this new feeling in. I got information 3 or lower. Every time I say this, my intuition is it has to be lower than that. So I would say 2 or 1. Really, ideally 1 or less. It's where you want to start bringing this in. 2 or less is good. 3, I would go with more clearing before. Okay? So what we're going to do here is that we're going to take the situation of posting a reel, right? You felt panic before you pressed post, fear of maybe being canceled on the other side, whatever it was. Now you worked to it and you brought it to 2, okay? Now the panic is gone, but you still feel a little bit of contraction, okay? It's not completely gone. So remember, we're gonna work with what is here and now. So the first one, we are going to do bridging, okay? So this would be the first round of tapping. And I'm just gonna say, like, when you get a little bit more practice with this, you may be able to, I'm gonna show you 4 rounds of doing this now. You may be able to compress it into one, because you're gonna be more familiar with what feels right in your body. But let's start with the longer version so you can do it step by step. So Instead of jumping into something like, I'm confident and powerful and totally visible, blah, 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 we're going to bridge from where you are right now. So before, you did a setup statement that looked something like this. Even though I feel fear in my chest when I think about posting this reel or pressing post, I completely accept myself. And now you're going to go with a different setup statement that is going to be something like this. Even though I still feel a little bit of tension and contraction when I think about posting that reel, I completely and fully accept myself. Or even though I still feel a little bit of tension and contraction when I think about posting that reel, I can tell the response is changing in the right direction. So we can start acknowledging this, okay? And then when you go over the points, it's going to be, even though there's still a little bit of tension here, it is not as intense as before. And I can tell that something is already shifting. My body is starting to feel safer. It no longer feels as overwhelming. I can feel more space in my chest. I can tell that I am beginning to calibrate to a different baseline. I can tell that my body is starting to shift. So you see how we are acknowledging what is happening in the body, and we are acknowledging that there is a shift. So we are anchoring in this shift, okay? Now, round two, we would be doing something similar. You would be checking where your body is right now, what is opening up, and you would be crafting a setup statement based on that. So even though I still feel a little bit of tension in my throat when I think about posting that reel, I actually feel a lot more positive than before. And you tap on this a few times, and then we can go something like, and we're going to start introducing a possibility. Maybe it's safer to be seen than I actually thought. Maybe I can actually handle this. Maybe nothing bad will happen at all if I post this reel. Maybe people will really like it and I will get a bunch of new followers. Maybe I don't need to protect myself in the same way by staying small. Maybe I can stay grounded even if people see me. Maybe I can stay completely grounded even if some people disagree with me. Maybe I can actually feel good posting that reel. And you go back and notice how every time here I added the word maybe. Using maybe or setting it up as a question bypasses the internal resistance. Because you're not giving to your subconscious like this is happening. You're giving to your subconscious, what if there's a different possibility? And there isn't this resistance because you're not forcing something new onto your subconscious and it's not clashing. It's just opening up. Okay? So remember this process, it's going to be very fluid. It's going to really depend on where you are, and it's going to depend on how good you feel and what feels right in your body. Every time when you're repeating these things, this is why I don't want to give you exact scripts, because you want to be checking what feels good in your body, what gives you this sense of expansion. I feel normally expansion in my sacral part, my stomach. I really feel like there's lightning. Things get lighter, not like the one with the storm, but it gets like the air gets lighter. There's like this possibility, the frequency of the possibility coming in. And this is what we're going with, is like more and more and more gradual expansion. Now, with the third round, we may go something into an identity shift. And we may go with something like, I'm allowed to be visible. I can express myself and be completely safe. I don't need other people's approval. I trust myself to handle whatever comes. It is safe for me to be seen in my power. It is safe for me to express my truth. I can handle other people's disagreements without collapsing. I know I'm going to be okay no matter what waits on the other side. Always, if this feels too big, if you start feeling overwhelmed, go back. Go back to a safer sentence. Go back to a slower sentence. We're building capacity step by step by step by step. And it's going to be a combination of rounds of clearing combined with rounds of positive reinforcement, positive statements, affirmations that are going to be creating this cumulative effect. And then with round 4, you could do something like anchoring in a new baseline. So again, remember for the setup sentence, this could be something like, I'm starting to feel this excitement. And I can tell that my body is actually starting to learn something new. So here you can really form a positive sentence. My body is starting to learn something new. I'm learning that visibility doesn't mean danger. I'm learning that I can feel grounded in being seen by millions. I can feel completely grounded speaking my truth and being seen in my truth. I know how to hold this version of me without stepping back. Being seen by millions is starting to feel normal. Being seen by millions feels like making my coffee in the morning. Totally straightforward. No pressure. Large visibility, engagement. Feels like my new baseline. I can totally sustain it. And so you can do this 1 round, 2 rounds, you can combine them, right? So I'm going to show you in the final one what it may look like if you wanted to combine something like this in 1 round, okay? Instead of doing 4 rounds of this. But remember, you always need to be monitoring, is your body actually on board with this? And what may happen is, let's say that you introduce a round of positive stuff, you go a little bit too far and you get this contraction in your body. And then you can go into the contraction and you can ask, where is this coming from? And it may give you a new memory that you can tap on to actually resolve the constriction. So all of these processes, right? Like we build these frameworks, we try to put them into a linear form because we cannot operate in a multidimensional space at the same time. It gets confusing. But the truth of how healing works, the truth of how life works is it's not linear. So this is why I want you to take these tools. I want you to use them. And then I want you to start playing with them. Understand that you're always playing with duality between expansion, contraction. So if you're starting to expand and you feel the contraction, work with the contraction. And then go back, can I now expand? Ooh, I feel contraction, work with the contraction. I can expand a bit more, right? So you're gonna make this process your own. So let me show you now what it may look like, the whole thing with a setup statement and then a round of tapping over all the points when you combine it with this. So you've gone through your clearing, you've got it to like 2 or below, right? And you're going to now be like, okay, I still feel a little bit of tension. And what we're going to do simultaneously is we're going to acknowledge the truth of what's happening and we're going to open ourselves up to a different possibility. Even though there's still a little tension, I'm open to seeing this differently. And even though I feel a little bit of tension in my chest and my throat, I'm starting to feel lighter and I'm open to seeing this differently. And even though I still feel a little bit of tension in my shoulders, a little bit of contraction when I think about pressing post on that reel and what people may think on the other side of it, I can tell things are shifting and I'm really ready to see things differently. And you can see how I'm evolving this process. You can see it on my face, you can see it on my eyes, that my body is like, oh yeah, this is feeling good. And I'm going with it, I'm flowing with it now. I'm not following a rigid script, okay? So now we may move through the points. I still feel a little bit of this contraction, but it's not as strong anymore. I can tell my body is shifting and it's becoming accustomed to a different possibility. And I'm beginning to realize this is safer than I thought. Being seen by millions feels much lighter than it did before. Having my reels, my posts being seen and commented on and interacted with by thousands actually feels really grounded. It feels really exciting. And I'm realizing I'm allowed to be visible. I'm allowed to be seen by others. And that being seen by thousands, recognized, seen in my authority, in my power, expressing my truth, feels both exciting but also really grounded. And I like that feeling. And you're going to pause and you're going to assess. If there's contraction, you work on contraction. If you feel expansion, if you're ready to go another round and be something like, I'm ready for big visibility. I'm ready to be seen as authority in this space. I'm ready to be seen by thousands. And you can go over these points. You can do the setup statement. At some point, you may not even need to do the setup statement. You may just use these points to be anchoring in this affirmation. Remember, this work without doing the clearing, without knowing how to address the contraction, being aware when contraction arises, not going to be useful. But doing this work on the other side of clearing is going to start really locking in this desired identity. And you can use it to put yourself into the frequency of your desire, to put yourself into a state where you assess, wow, my nervous system is actually open to that, and to make this process more and more and more and more and more expansive. All right. My loves, this is the end of our EFT section. I am really excited to see how you're going to use this, how you're going to make it your own. And I'm especially really, really excited to see the profound transformations that this is going to create for you on the other side of using this work. I will see you in the next video. Much love.